Test. What's up, guys? It's Francis and Dad. Welcome to the channel and my program. So tonight, as you can see here, I have managed to overcome the hurdles I've recently met. I've recently hit. So you can see here, I am back. I am alive and kicking. Yes. So tonight I'd like to share something. I believe it's somewhat important and very worthwhile reporting. Judgment from others. I believe it's gonna be the very first thing you have to figure out ways to overcome. If you happen to stutter, or if you happen to fear, or happen to have fear of meeting strangers, talking to strangers, and not exactly strangers in general, but perhaps for some more severe cases, perhaps you will. Perhaps you always tend to have doubts, to have those kind of hesitations when you are about to open your mouth and speak with someone, even if with someone whom you know well of. That used to happen to me a lot. So but you can see here, as you can see here, now I basically turned into someone nearly completely different. Don't you see? Now I don't feel any shame bringing someone who are completely strangers to me. I can pretty much ring anyone I want to, anyone I believe I have important matters to co-work with. So how did I do that? How did I overcome the fear of speaking with people without having to hesitate in case I stutter? Well, first of all, as I put before, you need to get rid of the fear of judgment. You need to get rid of the fear of being judged by others. So now nowadays we live in a world teeming with judgment from others. But there's one, you must also know that those judgment, they don't pose any valid, real danger or hazards. Those judgment, they don't actually, make you lose anything tangible or anything genuinely valuable. Well, once you begin to consider the fact that you have absolutely nothing to lose, you have nothing to worry about, you have no one to to feel that shame or to feel that disgrace, even if you stutter. I have spoken to a counselor during my times of uni, during my times of college. I'd spoken to him. I expressed my worries and concerns, and I can tell you that I started a lot when I tried to explain my concerns and frustrations and my worries to him, and yet he told me, he told me this: you don't stutter at all. You just have some occasional hesitations when you try to vocalize some very specific words or terminologies. And he also said this to me: each time you speak, people will only take notice of around 70 to 75% of the words, of the sentences, of the expressions you were trying to convey, and that really gave me some somewhat huge relief. After that, I began to to try to talk to random people without a deliberate intention or a deliberate planning of some sort. So I began to make speaking up as a habit, as a naturally born routine and pattern of life. And yeah, I can already see it starts to bear lots of fruits, because I have now at least get to speak to someone over the phone around 3 times per week. I always try to remain proactive and taking the initiative, speaking to people over the phone. Especially people, especially my acquaintances from the States, especially my friends, my classmates, my business partners, in Australia. So yeah, I began to form some sort of schedule, some sort of agenda, both in my brain and typed as Word documents on my laptop computer. Because for the moment I can't just bother buying a printer here, since I don't plan to live with my grandma that long. Perhaps eventually someday I will still have to buy a printer, but that will be the least of my concerns, at least for the moment. Since I can just write down what actions I should be taking on a piece of paper. So I figured a printer won't be that necessary, at least for the moment. And yeah. What else? Yeah. Yesterday, last Sunday, I spoke to a friend of mine, also a classmate, I got to know at biology class during my times of high school. during year 11 and year 12. So I spoke to him about some sort of projects, some sort of workplace assignments we can co-work on. In fact, that was pretty much that was pretty much an excuse to initiate some sort of worthwhile conversation in order to eliminate my fear of speaking with people. As you guys can understand, and then it managed to produce some amazing results, though not all quite pleasant. Perhaps when someone make a comment on the things you are currently working on, or on the current social economic status you are at, or what else, whenever they make a commentary or a comment or a judgment, first of all, I firmly believe it doesn't really matter that much, because after all, that type of judgment, that type of comment was made based on very limited perception and very limited tangible and admissible evidence. They basically made that type of comments and judgment based on their very limited and highly restricted range of perceptions and access to certain information. I won't disclose anything more about this particular friend I just spoke to on last Sunday. Though I am always more than willing and more than happy to share something that we have talked about, something we have planned about, but anyway, first and foremost, don't get too frustrated and don't get upset by those comments and judgments. Especially the comments, the judgments on your current socio-economic status. Especially, other than that, your personal circumstances, your personal situations, because we just can't access we just can't access someone else's mind, not that explicitly. We can only make some somewhat reasonable speculations and guesses on how exactly that person think of you, on how what exactly that particular person might think of you. Perhaps at first sight it may not he or she may not appear to be thinking much of you, or vouching for your skills, or your personalities whatsoever, such as let's say for instance, they can make a comment on let's say on how you do things, how you deal with things and people. Perhaps they might say, well, you are a very controlling type of guy, or you do things through you do things and you deal with people too rashly. You tend to make very rash and very irrational decisions. Once when it comes to making decisions on financial matters, HR matters, whatever, etc. Don't waste your time on thinking about that too much, because not all of it might be true, and perhaps for the best, it might not be true at all. Yeah. Else it will definitely, certainly affect your judgment. And your perception, of course. Yeah. What else? Yeah. Even if, yes, let's say, even if people can judge you harshly and make quite hostile comments against you, but in fact they are not trying to act deliberately against you. You have to know that. Let's say for example, one of your friends, perhaps one of your friends gave you some advice on achieving a successful migration outcome to a certain country, such as Australia, America, or Canada, or New Zealand. What else? They just might, get it all wrong. They might just, have a very subjective and highly limited perception of your current status, of your current circumstances. I have also made some illustrations on the 457, the subclass 457 matter, which is the labor market testing part. I have spoken to many lawyers, many migration agents, and several friends of mine who have that sort of expertise with getting a long-term visa in Australia, and yet the results I have found seriously and severely contradicts their claims, their conclusions. The fact is that labor market testing itself is not mandatory. You only have to conduct and carry out the labor market testing once certain conditions are met. Just like those conditions and scenarios where you don't have to do that labor market testing. For more information, please feel free to check that video out regarding labor market testing on subclass 457 visa to Australia. Anyway, guys, I hope I have made my point clear. So if you have any questions, feel free to post it below this video clip. I always look forward to seeing you guys making some commentaries and some judgment. I welcome all of them. Just don't post scans or spams. That's my only condition. That's my only condition on making commentaries and judgment on my video clips. So, have a great day or a great night. Stay blessed. Stay faithful as always. I shall see you on the next video on YouTube. Bye bye. Peace out. God bless. Cheers.